Bye, bitch.
Does a home built for love conceal the remains of a tragedy?
Don't you dare say bye, bitch, to me. The f do you think you are, you cheeky?
Hello, I'm Yvette Fielding, and this week I brought Most Haunted to Conway in Wales and to a place called Plas, Mawr, which when translated means Great Hall or Mansion. This place has been standing here for over 400 years and certainly has a story to tell.
This historic house is commonly thought to be one of Britain's best surviving Elizabethan townhouses. It bears several inscriptions to the time of its construction, as well as its principal owner, Robert Wynn, a man known to have fought for Henry VIII during his reign. Yet it was this man's 2 marriages that may hold our key to life after death. Both his wives were called Dorothy, and both suffered a premature demise. Illness accounted for the first, before a tragic fall killed the second, who unfortunately was pregnant. And to make matters worse, are Robert Wynn's second wife and the doctor, who failed to save her, still trapped in this bedroom.
With such a sad story and so many ghosts, I asked Stuart and Ian to spend last night alone and in the dark, and this is what happened.
Having decided to split up, Stuart went to the allegedly haunted bedroom, whilst Ian headed up to the eerie attic, with 1 or 2 curious incidents interrupting their stay.
I've actually just heard a noise coming from the door area. There, where my finger's pointing now.
I can hear quite a bit of clicking. God, this attic isn't half creaking.
Could you please move something on the bed? Could you move one of the curtains, maybe? Could you do something? Here we go, here we go, here we go. It came from where the doorway is.
Okay, that shit me up a bit then. It's a weird old building, this. But you do get a sense there's something here with you.
There is said to be a lot of poltergeist activity throughout the house. Secured windows and doors unlatch themselves and swing wildly in a non-existent wind. Also, heavy footsteps are heard and the smell of tobacco is often witnessed. Many people experience the touch of unseen hands, while others often see a ghostly black cat running across the floor.
One of the wives of Robert Wynn, who was pregnant at the time and had a baby in arms, was standing at the top of the tower waiting for her husband to come back from the wars. As she came down the spiral staircase, she slipped and the doctor was sent for, and he said that they would probably die. When the master came back, mother and child were dead in the bed, but the doctor had disappeared.
This is the White Chamber, and with the story attached to it, it has to be the most significant room in the whole of the property. A ghostly face has been seen looking through that particular door. A former master of the house is said to walk here, and when people enter the room, they're greeted with a ghostly hello. All over over the second floor, the ghost of a lady wearing a grey crinoline dress has been seen, alongside a woman also wearing Elizabethan clothing, accompanied by what has been described as a loud sigh. But it's not just women who haunt Plâs Mawr. A gentleman wearing what's been described as Tudor clothing has been seen wandering endlessly around the first and second floors.
I was always very doubtful about ghosts until I came to live back in Conway, and I saw the things that I have seen, and I go on seeing them. And I was washing up in the kitchen, and I saw a flash of blue light in the yard. So I went out to see what it was, and there was a little girl, aged about 8 or 9, in a blue crinoline, long red hair, and she smiled at me, and then she'd gone. I've seen her loads of times since, on the terrace and walking through my yard, and I just take no notice of her whatsoever because she's just part and parcel of the scenery.
Many years later, in the 1700s, this place was split up, and there were about 25 different people living in various parts of the place. It also became an infant school for a time, and some of the teachers actually lived here as well.
Although relatively bare inside, this is a location that parapsychologist Kieran O'Keefe has in mind for an influx of ionization, a method that some feel can trick you into thinking that you are having a paranormal experience.
So what sort of experiments are you going to be doing this evening?
We'll be setting up an ionizing experiment. Essentially, we'll be blasting the room with negative ions and seeing if people react to that. There are 2 reasons for doing this particular experiment. Paranormal reason is that the ions kind of act as an energy source, and the spirits can use that energy source in some way to communicate with us. A skeptical explanation is that if there's an increase in the number of negative ions in a particular location, we'll get a physiological reaction. We'll think that we're being touched, maybe our hairs will go up on the back of our neck or on our hands, the sort of experiences that people genuinely have in a haunted location. So I've set the ionizer up, we're going to leave it running throughout the investigation and see if people actually report those sort of experiences.
So what dividends would Kieran's experiment reap? Would flooding a room with negative ions encourage greater communication with those who have long since died? And what messages would medium David Wells and guest psychic Ian Lawman deliver from these souls?
He's going to play havoc with us this evening.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's got blood up his arms.
So he's saying he's not in the mood for us to be here tonight?
He's not in the mood for you being here tonight.
Oh, me?
Having heard of Plâs Mawr's steep history, we were all now ready and willing to see if anyone actually does haunt one of North Wales's finest buildings. Before guest psychic Ian Lawman joined the rest of the crew on set, medium David Wells entered the entrance hall, a place allegedly rife with poltergeist activity and mysterious footsteps.
So what comes to mind as you come into this first room?
It feels active, you know. It feels tingly to me. So I'm getting that, you know, kind of that sensation that says activity, which is, and it's not just because I'm cold,
Right.
you know. But I'm very much aware of a woman's scream upstairs.